Yo, what's going on YouTube, and welcome to this month's chapter review for Boruto chapter 58. I don't know about you guys, but it felt like a long ass month since the last one. This chapter surprisingly was pretty chill, seeing as how the past ones have all been pretty unpredictable and informative. But even then, and I'll get into it as the video goes along, this chapter may not have been crazy, but it was still very much needed. Now, the chapter not bringing anything new or mind-blowing doesn't mean it's bad. To be honest, the stakes as it is for Konoha is at an all-time high. Boruto can't catch a break for shit. Every corner there's something life-threatening looking his way. Code now has an ally that can see all present and past events during her lifetime, and is basically impossible to kill unless you qualify for those restrictions we know of from last chapter. Naruto and Sasuke for the Boruto era aren't exactly powerhouses anymore, and on top of that, their new threat is someone who could potentially be stronger than Jigen and Ishiki, and Amato is someone that cannot be trusted, also potentially someone who is going to impact the future of the story the most. So yes, I kind of see why Kishimoto decided to chill this chapter. If you are new around here, how I go about my chapter reviews typically is by reading over the chapter, then discussing certain topics within that chapter. But due to unfortunate events, I have decided to discontinue the reading portion of these reviews. So instead, I usually just discuss the topics. So with that said, moving on to the first one, we are going to be talking about the opening section to the chapter where Naruto presented Boruto with the medicine that's supposed to suppress Otsutsuki-fication. And to Naruto, it may have been a shocker for Boruto to just take the pills without thinking, which his reaction was hilarious. I can't believe they actually drew Naruto like that. But to us, it shouldn't be this much of a shocker. No, it is not just because Boruto has balls and he's just like his father, act first, think later. No, that's not the reason. It has already been established in Boruto chapter 49 that Boruto fears hurting others more than himself. This isn't some asshole Kishimoto did to make Boruto seem more brave. Boruto is in a very bad situation no matter how you look at it. Even 2 chapters ago, Shikadai already informed us that Boruto is probably the most stressed and anxious than anybody in Konoha. He even goes on to say this chapter that he's expecting the worst when it comes to karma. Regardless of how you look at these medications, if he dies, so does Momoshiki, permanently. But if the medications work, Konoha will have more time in figuring out how to get rid of the mark. To the village, it's a win-win, but to Boruto, it's a win-lose. Boruto in chapter 49 has proven to us readers that he fears hurting others more than his own life, and in this chapter, it speaks volume. Willingly taking the medicine, knowing that the chances of him hurting other people are less. Even with the bad side effects, it still factors in. The next point I want to bring up is following the aftermath of Boruto versus Kawaki, when he subconsciously tries to absorb karma, but of course, since he doesn't have it anymore, ends up taking the full-scale attack of Boruto's lightning style, which for those who remember is greatly enhanced by the power of karma. That shit must have hurt like hell. But I'm sure a lot of you have thought of the same thing that I did when reading this part, and even the entire conversation between Team 7. By the way this chapter portrayed Kawaki, it really does make it seem like Kawaki isn't about this way of getting stronger through ninja training. He goes on to say, yes, it might be tradition, but going on a 2-year training period like Naruto did with Jiraiya isn't gonna cut it. They don't have time to waste in getting that strong, seeing as how big the power difference is from Code to them. Also, not to mention again, Ida is his ally, which gives him a big advantage. And as much as I would love for Kawaki and the crew to train and learn new abilities, he's actually not wrong. It doesn't matter how much faster or how many more powerful attacks they learn. Realistically, it doesn't matter. Code still surpasses them in every way imaginable. A training arc might be cool to read and watch as fans of the series, but realistically, the power difference is just too great between Code and everyone else, to the point that it would literally make no difference if he were to fight them now or at the beginning of the time skip. Another thing to note is that I'm surprised Boruto isn't really seeing Kawaki's side here. Don't get me wrong, I see what Kishimoto was doing. This whole chapter felt like a giant build-up to the time skip Boruto versus Kawaki battle. In that fight, Boruto still believes the ninja way lives on, whereas Kawaki tells him it's over. In this chapter, Boruto and Kawaki literally fight for which method they should proceed in terms of gaining power. Boruto chooses the traditional way of training like ninjas. Kawaki suggests that they go through other means in gaining power quickly, as he doesn't believe they will be strong enough when going up against Code. So I get what they were doing, and I understand why Sarada and Mitsuki didn't fully get Kawaki's view, you know, life being as easy as it was to them, and they also never really stepped in the presence of the strongest Kara member in Jigen/Ishiki. But Boruto should understand Kawaki's perspective in how scary the top dogs of Kara really are. Kawaki being this anxious to gain power is completely understandable. I felt like Kishimoto was trying to speak to us through Kawaki in delivering this message. The same route that Naruto and Sasuke took in gaining power isn't gonna cut it here, because I'm saying this again, again, if they go down that route and try to train for like 2 to 3 years, logically speaking, if we were to do some scaling, Code still watches them and it's not even close. They would literally waste their time. So yeah, if I was Boruto dealing with all the stuff he has to deal with already besides Code, I'd be pretty anxious too and see reason with Kawaki's logic. Training alone isn't going to cut it. They need to apply great loads of power to the training they are doing. Which also, I'm probably not alone in thinking this, but piece by piece, they are starting to unveil what led up to that Boruto versus Kawaki fight. I'm gonna say it again. Boruto and Kawaki are most likely battling over a means of different philosophies like they did in this chapter. Kawaki in this chapter mentioned Naruto and his desperation to protect him. Kawaki mentions Lord Seventh sending him somewhere unknown. So yes, this chapter may not have been as exciting as the past couple ones, but it was definitely a needed chapter, which I mentioned in the beginning of this video. And overall, this desperation of Kawaki could lead to him regaining the Karma Seal. Still too early to say, but again, piece by piece. Unfortunately guys, this month's chapter review is going to be a short one just due to the fact that nothing drastically new was added worth discussing. It kind of feels like Kishimoto wanted to focus on building Kawaki and Boruto's character heading into the time skip. There is one topic, however, I was able to get out of this chapter for a separate video, which will be uploaded this weekend. But for the most part, that is going to do for today's video. I did like these small references and build up Kishimoto displayed within this chapter. However, a lot of the pieces to that puzzle are still hidden. There isn't much to go on for anybody to give an accurate explanation to what happened. But hey, we're closer now than we were many chapters ago. If you watched all the way until the end, I appreciate it as always, and be sure to let me know how you felt about Boruto chapter 58 in the comments down below. This has been your boy Chosen, and I'll catch you on the next one.